Hey guys, I think it's time for a TI update. Um, I moved to another state altogether, and as soon as I got here, I moved into a new apartment, and the first week that I was here, there was this guy that knocked on the door, and normally I don't answer the door if it's somebody I don't know, but my son was making noise and everything, so I opened up the door, and we were getting ready to leave anyway. So I opened up the door, and there was this guy standing there with a clipboard, and he said something like, he looked at me and he said, "You don't look like," and he said some guy's name, and I just kind of said, "Who?" And then he asked me who I was, my name, and I said, "Well, I just moved into this apartment. You can go talk to my apartment manager if you need any information about whatever you're doing." And he said, he said, "That's okay. I'll just write down Jane Doe." And so he starts writing down Jane Doe on his clipboard. And I looked down at his clipboard, and he had my name and my son's name already written on his clipboard. But he was acting like he didn't know who I was. But he knew who I was. He already had our names written on his clipboard. Then one time a plane flew over our apartment and the television turned off by itself. That's the only time the television's ever turned off by itself. We don't have a remote, and it was that one time when the plane flew over. Then I started noticing weird things when I would come home. Like, I'd leave and then I'd come back, and my son would one time found a cigarette butt, which I don't smoke, and my house is clean, and I was really, really pissed about that. And then another time I came home, and there's been several times where I find stuff smeared on the walls that wasn't there before, and I can tell you there was this one time. There were a few times that I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, maybe that was there. I just didn't notice it. But then there was this one time where I can tell you. I'm not going to give you details, but I know for sure that that was not there before. And then finally, but I kept doubting myself, like thinking, I don't know, maybe I just really didn't see it right. But then there was this one day that I came home from work, and the deadbolt, or I'm sorry, I didn't come home from work that day. It was something else that we were doing. And then I came home, and the deadbolt and the doorknob, the front doorknob, was hanging there, like you could see through the hole in the deadbolt and the doorknob. You could see through the hole in the door because it was loose. Somebody had loosened it to where it was just hanging there, and I pretty much freaked out. And so I called the apartment manager, and they came over and they changed the deadbolt and the lock. But and they were kind of saying, well, maybe it was the wind, no. Okay, the only way you can loosen a deadbolt and a doorknob, a front doorknob, is if you unscrew it from the inside. That's the only way you can do that. Wind, I don't care what, nothing else can do that, okay? Unless they have some kind of weapon or some kind of device that they can do it remotely. But the only way you can do that is by unscrewing it from the inside. Okay, so then I knew for sure I wasn't imagining stuff, that somebody was messing with my apartment, right? I found this sprinkling of this like grit brown stuff that was like chunky. It wasn't like dirt, it was like these chunks sprinkled all over my bathroom counter. I don't know what that was, but I guarantee you I didn't do that. And again, that happened when I came home. I left and I came home and it was like that. Okay, so I was assigned a job through the welfare department, which I hate dealing with them, and I don't want to ever. Everybody keeps making me do it because I'm a single mom. But I don't want to do it. I just want to get my own damn job. And I just want people to allow me to frickin' look for work. But I'm not going to deal with the welfare department anymore because they're fucking communists. Excuse the French. But they are. Okay? So they assigned me to a job. The last welfare department I was at, because I've been on welfare for 1 year, forced into it. I didn't even want to do that, but I ended up homeless, as you guys know, because I couldn't get a job. Nobody would even call me for an interview when I was in New York. Anyway, it's a long story. I keep getting assigned to these jobs. When I was in New York, I was assigned to the job that I worked at. It was a high-profile company in New York City. I was assigned to that job, okay, through a temporary agency. And I was persecuted there. It ended up that I was being persecuted there, that they were persecuting me about stuff that happened in my childhood. My supervisor was persecuting me about stuff that happened in my childhood. Then I quit that job, obviously, because they were killing me psychologically, okay? I left, and it wasn't paying my bills anyway. It wasn't paying my rent. It wasn't paying anything except my daycare. So then I left, ended up homeless. And then I was living in another state, and and then I was forced into welfare because I was homeless, living in a shelter. And then they forced me into a jobs program where they would not allow me to look for work. Like it was against the rules for me to look for work, and they had all these regulations. They were like, "Oh, it's because, the age of your child." They just had all this bullshit that they were citing for reasons why I was not allowed to look for work when I was in the jobs program. Bullcrap, I looked for work anyway, and I got in trouble for it a couple of times. For looking for work. I had a log that I created myself of all the places that I applied for while I was there, and I had a couple of interviews with temp agencies. The reason I keep looking to the side is because I can't see the screen unless I look over there, because my camera broke on my... Anyway, so I have to use another screen because the screen on my laptop broke. Anyway, so trying to make this a really, really short story, but there's just a lot of stuff. So they wouldn't allow me to look at it, but I kept looking anyway, and I would get an interview, and I'd go to her and say, it was a job program. They were supposed to be helping me get a job. I'd go to my caseworker and say, I have an interview tomorrow for, this job, this temporary agency. I have an interview for a job. And she'd be like, you're not supposed to be doing that. And you're going to have to make up that time. You're going to have to come in an extra day. Crazy. So they were punishing people, and it wasn't just me. There were about 13 of us there, which, excuse me, but that was not all the people on daycare in that town, I guarantee it. They had some kind of special program for us. I don't know what the hell that was, but it was bullcrap, and they would not let us get a job. So now I'm in this other town. I had to move again, obviously, because they wouldn't let me work in that town. I had to move again. Now I'm in another town where they assigned me to a job, okay, through the welfare department. They assigned me to this job, and I knew as soon as I went in there and interviewed with them, I knew, I could just tell by the way they were acting that there was something wrong with this place. And sure enough, I knew it. My instinct told me I'm going to get persecuted at this job. They're assigning me to another job, and I'm going to be going through persecution again. Absolutely, yes, I did. They were describing the clothes my son was wearing at daycare. They were describing what my son was eating for lunch at daycare. On 3 separate occasions they did this. They were taunting me about things that happened 3 years ago that they shouldn't even know about. There's no way they should know about that. They're taunting me about my YouTube videos. They shouldn't even know about that. Okay? The list goes on and on and on. They're making these noises, these like noises with their mouths, like these popping, like doing that, and like staring at me and doing it like 3 or 4 times in a row. That's the same thing those guys did at the company in New York. They would do that constantly, and it was like really really obvious that it's some kind of thing that they do to try to annoy people or something. I don't know, but they were really, the thing that really got me was them describing my son at daycare, what he was eating and what he was wearing. And that was when I just said, you know what? I'm done. I am leaving. Come out of her, my people. That's what Jesus said. Come out of her, my people. I will destroy her. He's talking about Babylon. And Babylon is this entire system. I used to think that it was just, you know, one country or one city or something. Now I realize, no, I think Jesus helped me to realize this too, because I've been praying a lot, that it's not just one country and one city. It is the entire system that is this web across the entire globe. That's Babylon. That's Babylon. And I believe that that's what Jesus meant when he said, come out of her, my people. I'm going to destroy her. He's talking about the entire system of Babylon that's ruling this planet right now. And they're persecuting the Christians. Whether you know you're a Christian or not, they're going to persecute you if you're living the life that God wants you to live, if you're being kind to others, if you're being kind to the earth and things like that. You may not even call yourself a Christian, but God considers you a Christian. God considers you one of his children. And so if you are one of God's children, if you're a kind person and you refuse to do harm to others, and you have morals, then you're going to end up being persecuted. And if people that think that persecution's not happening right now, sorry, but they're on the wrong side. They are on the wrong side. They're with the system. They're friends with the system. And you know, if you're friends with the system, you're an enemy of God. Another YouTube user was saying that the other day, and I totally agree with that. I agree with that. That's exactly what's going on. I can't remember his name. You go to my favorites. I have all those people that, if I mention in here, they're in my favorites. Anyway, point is, I got to figure out a way of getting out of the system completely, because they keep assigning me to these crazy jobs with these crazy people. Finally, what happened was this lady was just attacking me, this hostile lady at the job, because I kept being nice all the time. And finally, she just started yelling at me for no reason whatsoever. No reason whatsoever. But they have to have something that they can hold against you. And so they try so hard to persecute you and provoke you and hope that you'll do something that they can put you in jail for. Why? I do not know. I don't know. The only thing I can come up with is that it's the same stuff that's in the Bible. That it's the same, because King David was describing, I gotta look at the time. I'm almost out of time. King David was describing this stuff. One more thing I want to tell you guys. One of the days I went to daycare, and there was this little girl there I'd never seen before, and I've never seen her after again. This little girl came up to me. She had a mask on when I got to daycare to drop my son off. And she says, remember me? She said to me, you remember me? And I said, no. And she goes, I'm the one that talked to you about Jacob's ladder. And then she was like, you want to see this picture? And she pulls out this color book of this big T-Rex dinosaur with its mouth open like it's going to chomp you. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I never saw that girl again. I've never seen her before. There's something kind of weird about that. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys what's going on. And I got to find a way to get out of the system completely. And I don't know who these people are or why they're doing this, but it's really scary. And I got to get out of it. I got to somehow get away from these people. And I've been trying to get a job for years, and I don't know what to do. But I just want you guys to know that this is happening to me, and this is happening to several people. So I just wanted to give you an update.